This is what happens when most of us try to hit an aggressive sliding backhand on the left leg. You either lose balance, mistime the shot, or completely fall over. But Jannik Sinner somehow turns this exact movement into a weapon. Even when he's fully stretched out wide, even when he's defending, he's still able to generate unbelievable control, balance, and power off of this shot. So in this video, we're going to break down how Sinner stays balanced during the slide and how he generates power off the outside leg, and this is why this shot is so effective at turning defense into an offensive shot. So let's get into the video. So this shot is the future of men's tennis and women's tennis, because by being able to slide out to this ball, you're able to get behind the ball, balanced, and actually hit an offensive shot. Whereas in the past, a lot of players would go to the slice backhand, or they would just think about getting this ball back and neutralizing the ball. Whereas Sinner can actually move out to this shot, stay very balanced, really decelerate his body, and actually do something with this ball and actually turn the point around. Okay, so this was something in the past that not many players could do. Novak Djokovic being an exception, but if you want to be the best player in the world, this is a shot that you certainly have to have in your locker, because it just gives you that extra ability to turn a defensive shot into an offensive shot. Sinner's so good at this shot that he actually doesn't over recover onto his backhand side. He actually wants you to play down the line into this shot, and it's almost like a trap. Because he's got this shot in the locker, he actually baits you into going down the line, and this is what players need to be careful of against Sinner. Sometimes you see a big open space down the line, but this is actually a little bit of a trap against Sinner. You're almost certainly better off potentially playing a cross-court ball here rather than playing into the space, because what he's able to do is take a big split step, and he can almost read the ball coming in really early, and he starts his move, and it's like a trap, because he's going to be able to slide and get balanced on his outside foot, getting his weight behind the shot. And this is a really difficult shot to time, because you've got to get the contact point right, you've got to get the preparation with your swing really precise, and you have to trust that outside leg is going to hold and stay really balanced whilst you're decelerating at a high speed into this shot. And then you can see how balanced he is on that outside leg, and how he actually takes a full swing through contact. You can see where that racket finishes all the way around his bat there, whereas a lot of normal players will get there and they'll be happy just to get something on that ball, something that can potentially neutralize the point. Whereas Sinner's actually going to get there and play a deep ball, neutralize it really hard and deep through the middle of the court, and then he's almost going to get a short ball off this. You can see how you can look at the depth that he's got on that shot, and that's going to potentially allow him to move up the court and then start to do his thing and dictate the rest of the rally, right? So that's a real key to why he's having a lot of success against a lot of players, because he's got this shot in the locker when a lot of players don't. All right, so let's have a look at the preparation for this shot. So here we can see he's about to run out wide for this backhand, right? So he's running into the space, and as the ball's coming into land, he's going to start to take his racket back. And what he does well is he keeps a very low take back, right? You can see he's not got a high take back. He's going to keep his racket under his shoulder, right? And that's allowing him to maintain a really low center of gravity to help with his balance, right? And that's why it looks very effortless. There's no wasted time with his swing. So then as the ball's rising, that's when he's got the racket back. You can see the racket's now pointing back behind, pointing at the back wall, and he's going to initiate a big lunge step with this outside foot, right? So you've got to have the flexibility to do that. And guys, I don't recommend you doing this shot unless you're well trained physically, because obviously that's a lot of pressure that's going through your lower legs and your lower body. So As the ball's rising, he's initiating that big lunge. You can see how flexible he is in terms of the distance between both legs. It's almost like a good meter apart, right? And that's when he's going to plant the outside foot there, right? And let's just see how far he can actually slide into this shot. He can do this on clay effortlessly, and he can usually do this on hard courts, which makes it even more scary. So this is the point in which he initiates the slide. And there you can see he's maintaining his balance. And that's where he's making contact. So he's made contact here. And you can see how the left arm really extends, right? The left arm is extending out to the contact. And the right arm, the bottom arm is a little bit bent, right? So that's the position you've got to be in, maintaining that wide base, keeping your head down, and really trusting your foot is going to be able to cope with this slide. So let's have a look at the finish. So there, he's putting that weight on the outside leg, and that's how far he's actually slid across the court. So that's like almost a meter that he's managed to slide into that shot, right? Whereas a lot of players would have to take a lot of other steps to get to that ball, potentially sometimes go to the slice early, whereas he's got there and he's played an attacking winner down the line, okay? And what's so good about moving out wide like that off your left leg is that he's going to easily be able to just do a crossover step with that left leg and potentially run to an out wide forehand and slide into that ball off his forehand side, exactly how he's just done on his backhand side. So that just shows you how impossible it almost is to get this ball past him because of his reach, because of his athletic ability to stay low and grounded through the shot. This is what's transforming the game. So let's just have a look at the slide again. He's going to really trust that left leg there, and he uses those ankle supports probably because he does this all the time. He's got to take a bit more caution, and because he can get to that position with the extended left arm, he's going to really use that left arm acceleration through contact to generate the racket head speed, right? And then you can see, watch how he manages to maintain his balance in that position and straight away with this outside leg just push off and recover that way, right? So he's taken one step. With one step, he's already nearly back inside the inside tram line with one step from that corner, right? If he takes two steps, he's already here and he's already back in the middle of the court, ready for the next ball, right? Whereas a lot of players, they waste too much time out of the corners and they just won't be able to maintain playing at the level of Sinner because time is everything. All right, so here's a really good court level angle of Sinner doing this. And so just notice when the ball comes into land, he's got the racket already dropping. Okay, so he's got the tip of the racket dropping down as the ball's coming into land. Okay, and he's getting the racket dropping behind his body. And as the ball's rising, that's when he initiates the slide off the left leg, right? So he initiates that slide off the left leg, and the swing happens at the same time as the slide, right? So that's really tough to coordinate. It's a really high level thing to be able to do, is to land that foot and start the swing at the same time. So that's why the core strength is so important, but also just notice how low he's taken that racket. The racket does not rise above his waist on the preparation, right? Let me just draw a green line through there. So the racket is not going to rise over that line, okay? You can't afford to waste time taking the racket up. You need to drop the racket really early, trust the left foot, right? Have the flexibility and the strength to do that. And that's, they use a lot of banded exercise, so resistance bands. They work on this on clay courts, right? With a fitness coach pulling you with a resistance band, and you just slowly build that strength and that speed and that balance, coordination on this ball. It's not really something you're going to practice on hard court before you've been practicing this on a clay court, right? So then he goes into the contact here. you've got to use that reach with the left hand and flick that wrist right at the end, which helps. And by hitting it a little bit later, you don't make contact too early. You let that ball get to the side of you a little bit more, and that actually gives a bit of disguise to this shot, right? And you can flick it cross or flick it line, and that leads a little bit of that uses a bit of disguise at the end of the ball, right? So let's just have a look. So this is on a hard court. He's doing this, right? So this is where he plants the foot. Let's see where it ends up. So he's managed to slide about a foot, right? And a foot is everything. At the highest level, if you can get to a ball one step quicker than your opponent, right, that adds up over the course of a match. That's going to lead to more mistakes, putting more pressure on your opponent. They feel like they have to go for more when they start to attack into the corners, leading them to create a lot more unforced errors. All right, so hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you want to try and play at the best, at the highest level of the game, that's a shot you're going to have to work on. For recreational players, I don't recommend trying this shot. This is the highest skill at the highest level to be able to do that. But like always, if you want your own game analyze, hit the link in my bio and you can send me a video for free, and I'll actually give you a free analysis of your own game. So check that out. I'll see you on the next video.